Everybody, Invisiblekatana here, and today I would like to discuss if free-to-play gaming will dominate gaming in the future. Now, my quick answer is no, but there's two sides of that coin because, for one, the reason I say no is technically it doesn't dominate because there's more games that you have to pay for than there are free-to-play games. There's, a million games you probably haven't heard of, and, you go on Steam and depending on what's happening, this problem's been solved, but depending on issues based on credit card companies or whatever, there might be more or less games out there that are just random and you've never even heard of them. But free to play is like the mainstream thing. It makes billions upon billions of dollars to do microtransactions. It does billions upon billions of dollars to do, free to play, but people like to have their costumes. And I'm guilty of it myself. I've mentioned before, I've had games where, I bought the, the battle pass and stuff. I did it for Halo Infinite when that was out. Well, not that it's not out, but when it first came out, I did it for Halo Infinite, and I enjoyed that because that was really my first Halo game. And I only played it because it was like, hey, we're making the multiplayer a separate thing, and I was like, you know what? I'll hop on that and see what it's like, and I had a great time with it. Eventually, I stopped. The instant they were like, yeah, we're no longer selling it, and we're making all of them free, and I was like, well, that kind of killed it for me because I paid for the first 2 seasons, I think, and then they did what I actually enjoy, which is if you play through enough, you get enough coins to just get the next battle pass for free. And I was like, okay, I'll do that. If I'm spending $10, I'll play it enough because that's why I spent the $10 in the first place. I know myself, I'm going to keep playing the game if I enjoy it. And then it kind of just was like, oh, once it went free, it oddly enough, me paying for it made me want to play it longer to make it feel like it was worth it and work towards something because I was going through and unlocking. And then it was like once they became free, even though you still had to do it within a certain time frame, it just instantly died for me. And also that was during the era when, it was kind of like, yeah, nothing's happening. And so that was before they had, custom matches were in online and all that stuff. So I jumped in a few months ago. I was like, oh man, jump onto, a quick team deathmatch. And it was like, oh, this is a custom map. That's pretty cool. So I stopped playing before all that really came in. So it was like, I'd hit that point of being like, all right, well, not much has really changed. I'm playing the same couple levels, and then you guys are just like, yeah, we don't have enough faith in it to even keep having you guys pay for it, so we're just making it free. And I was like, well, that just makes me, uninterested in what you're offering now. But that's a whole different story with 343 Studios and all the crap that's going on over there. So that's different. But I did do it for that. I do it for the finals, which I love the finals. As of me recording this, it is September 10th. Season 8 just started, and they changed the destruction, and I am very excited to play that a little bit tonight because they made it smooth destruction so that it's more fluid, and I'm like, I can't wait to see that. I'm very hyped for that because destruction was already amazing in this game, and that's the big thing. That's what had me in a chokehold. I should say has, because I'm still playing the crap out of that game. And from season 1, they're like, hey, $10, you buy the battle pass. As long as you play enough of the game, you'll get enough coins back. Technically, you get more than enough because they give you enough to get the next battle pass for free, and you get maybe 100 or 120 coins on top of that, and you build that up over a couple seasons, and then you can buy something from the store that you couldn't, if you don't spend money. I don't spend money on anything. I spend my $10, and that is the only thing I spend. I was like, I'm gonna play it enough because I like the game, and I've been playing it, pretty much since day one. And that $10 has really carried me through a lot of, cool looking costumes. So I really enjoyed the crap out of that game. They have a new thing now where it was like, if I was rich, maybe I would do it. But they have a premium thing where if you spend $30, you get double tiers for some of the unlockables. So you'll get, the full costume sets that they have. They'll have $30 premium editions, and you get 5 extra costumes. And I'm like, not worth it for me. If I could just play longer and still unlock those, if I had to do twice as much work, I might go through and do that because I like playing the game enough. I'll go through, longer just to get more costumes, but I couldn't drop an extra 30 on it, especially because you have to do it every time. It's new for each, premium battle pass. So I was like, I would, but I'm not rich and I don't want to spend an extra 30. I don't care that much about the costumes. $10 was simple, and I'm playing all the time. $10 is simple, but an extra 30, I was like, nah, it's not for me. But the costumes look nice. They definitely look cool, and the costumes you get are definitely awesome in general. So I'm fine with it. It just was like, they did that starting in season 7. I was like, dang, that kind of sucks. So now I'm out of costumes because of another money barrier. But for the $10, it's more than worth it, and the game's super fun. So I'm more than okay with it. And like I said, I've been playing pretty much since day one, and I have no intentions of stopping unless the game just straight up dies or something. I'll be on there, and I'm like, hey, for as much joy as I've gotten out of that game, costumes and all that stuff, the $10 was worth it. Even though it could have been completely free, that $10 was more than worth it for what that game offers as far as I'm concerned. But it's a first-person shooter, so that's not for everybody. You know, you have Fortnite. That's, of course, the big one where billions upon billions of dollars, and, you know, it's made Epic Games an insane amount of money. Not enough to, you know, keep funding Rumbleverse, but whatever, I guess. You know, F me. You know, that's what shit. I don't even want to get into that right now. But anyway, they make a bunch of money. Good for them. And, you know, that's like the big thing is Fortnite. I personally find it super boring. I haven't played it in like, I don't know, 6-7 years. I don't think I played that game since like season 2 or something. So the game is vastly different. Obviously there's the no build version now, which people actually seem to have a lot more fun with. So at some point, I'm sure I'll check it out. I'm sure that co-op mode is still not free. That is the one thing that I've ever cared about. And somehow it's always like, yeah, it's coming soon. It's coming soon. So we'll see about that. But I know they have a lot on there. I was actually thinking about downloading it just for the creator side of things. And I was like, oh, that seems more valuable than just playing the game from my personal perspective, especially because they recently got the Star Wars stuff. So I was like, oh, I might actually check that out just to make levels instead of actually playing this game. But that's the one, you know, that's the big one. Like, you know, people don't talk about PUBG a ton, but I'm sure it's still, you know, doing just fine. Obviously, Krafton had enough money to buy Tango Gameworks up, so I'm sure they're doing all right. But, you know, free to play is definitely the big thing, where it's free to play, and then right underneath free to play, because of course free to play is really where microtransactions came in, you have microtransactions. That's the important thing. They don't have to be free to play games. Like if they can get you on microtransactions and you spent $60, that's how they're gonna do it. I mean, heck, Helldivers is a great example. That was $50 when it came out. You still pay for the battle passes and stuff like that. I don't know if their thing operates kind of like the finals, where if you play through it enough, you get enough to get the next one for free. I don't know, like I said, but you still have to buy it. You spend your $50 and then you still pay, you know, I would just assume 10 because that's kind of the base level thing. Everyone goes for 10, but that works perfectly because the game's just good. But I still don't think that, you know, free to play is going to dominate, because like I said, we have a ridiculous amount of games you still have to pay for, because whether it's from indie all the way up to Ubisoft quadruple A, you got to pay for it. So I don't think it's going to dominate. I think it will dominate kind of the media side of things, especially for people that aren't huge into gaming. It's kind of like a GTA thing, where it's like, what video games are out there? Fortnite. Oh yeah, because it's free to play, and that's what, you know, the younger generation plays, and that's always going to be the main focus. Everyone who has the least amount of, you know, financial intelligence will always be the main targets for games, and that's just true. I mean, heck, at this point, I'm almost 33, and you drop a collector's edition, and, you know, I got to think about some things. I may or may not be financially responsible. It depends on the franchise. Fortunately, nothing's coming out that I really want to get, you know, that's that hardcore. Ghost of Yotei, I'm good. I'll just get the digital deluxe edition, and that's about it. Like, you know, if that came with the actual katana, we'd have a very different conversation on our hands. But it just comes with the mask. It does come with the suba, which that's probably a term that most people don't even, you know, comprehend when you just say that by itself, but I do. So it's like, oh, that's actually kind of sick. But I don't think I'm going to be forging a katana at any point soon. So I'm like, I'll be fine without it. Yeah, I think I'll be okay. But I'm just going to get the game, have fun with it. I think the last collector's edition I bought was, I'm pretty sure, the Alan Wake 2 collector's edition, and that's Alan Wake. I have, if it's Alan Wake, I kind of got to spend the money. Like, it's just one of those things. I think we all have our things, and it's like Resident Evil and Alan Wake, two things I truly love that have like zero merch. Feel free to check out my episode for video games that need more effing merch, because I'm pretty sure I referenced both of those. Despite Resident Evil going into its 30th anniversary, which may or may not lead to some amazing merch. I'm really looking forward to that next year. I might need to save up now that I'm thinking about that, but I'm hoping for the 30th anniversary they do more than shirts, because that's all I got. I got like my 20th anniversary shirts, and that's really all they do. They drop some t-shirts, and it's like, here you go, and then that's it. Like, I hope they do something really, really great. So we'll see what happens. Hitting 2026, we'll see what happens with the 30th anniversary for Resident Evil. But, you know, when it comes to, you know, spending money on collector's editions or microtransactions, free-to-play games is where it's at. Free-to-play games are the thing that kind of hit on the forefront, because it's easy to jump in. You just jump into it, and it's like, well, you don't have to spend $10, but also, it's $10. I mean, if we're being totally honest, free-to-play is what we called it, but we've had free-to-play forever. We just called it mobile games. Like, we've had that for I mean, honestly, we've had it for decades at this point, and that was always the thing. It just wasn't really in the full-on console gaming space, or even, you know, PC gaming. It was on your phone. It was mobile gaming, and it's like, okay, well, here you go. You know, Candy Crush, that was the big one. Farmville back in the day, like I'm pretty sure those had microtransactions. So we've had it, and it took a bit of time, because, you know, the games were simpler. If we're being honest, those games are much simpler than, you know, going into the realm of, you know, a Fortnite or a PUBG and stuff like that. And it's like, it took its time, but eventually it got there, and it was like, okay, well, you can branch out and have something that's free, and then you put microtransactions in it. It's like, and I think everything just kind of combined together. You have the idea of mobile games being very popular, even if it's simple stuff. You know, I mean, heck, I still love Bejeweled. I don't have it on my phone or anything, but I look back on Bejeweled, I'm like, I love Bejeweled. That's just a really good, simple puzzle game. I like a good puzzle game. You match a couple colors and then you're good. I'm like, yep, I do. I have the game Toon Blast, so it's the same thing with a couple extra layers on top. But I'm not spending a single dollar in that. You easily can. They have all the packs and stuff, but I'm like, I'll just play my game, and I just do it because it's a good puzzle game. So it's just to keep my brain working for a little bit. I'm playing the game, but it's strictly like just for a puzzle. And it's like, that's it. That's all I need. I don't need, you know, extra chances and stuff. If I use up all my lives or whatever, I am done. I'm good to go. I'm all right. At most, I'll watch an ad and I'll never spend any money, and that's all I need to do. And then that branches out, and now we have it all on console. You know, like I said, free-to-play games, gacha games in a similar vein. Like, I know we call them gacha games because of the lottery element of them, which, I mean, once again, you don't even have to go free to play to have that lottery element when it comes to gaming and buying, you know, fake money, V-Bucks, whatever forms of dollars and credits or Shazams or whatever the F they want to call them in whatever game you're playing, so that they can say, hey, it's not dollars, it's that cool squiggly spooch, you know? So we've had it for a while, and it's just going to keep going, but I don't think it dominates gaming. It might dominate the news, just because, you know, of course, you watch gaming news stuff, people are going to report the billions of dollars that they're making, the insane amount. I mean, for anyone who doesn't know this, I think it's the Monopoly Go, I think is what it's called. Or maybe it's just Monopoly on mobile, and I just instantly put Go on it because of Pokemon. That's my bad. But either way, the Monopoly mobile game, when it came out, it made like $6 billion or something insane within like 2 or 3 months. Maybe it probably wasn't 6 billion. It's probably like 2 billion. But it was something with a B. It was something with a B. Billions. And we're legit. I know it was like within a couple of months. And I'm like, don't get me wrong. Monopoly is my favorite board game. I know that I'm the odd man out on that one. But billions on mobile Monopoly, like, really? And that shows, I mean, I think that more than anything kind of shows, because let's be honest, it's Monopoly. Those weren't kids. Like, I'd be shocked if there were kids that caused that to make billions of dollars. That was full-on adults. There's no effing way kids were like, Monopoly, you know? So it doesn't matter the age. You can be financially irresponsible, and somehow you'll be targeted. Sometimes you'll just get hit with that right thing. And that's where we are with kind of free to play, where it's, you know, the giant mainstream thing because it's consistent. And of course, Fortnite, once again, the mainstream element, not just, oh, it's what, you know, young kids and teenagers and stuff play, you know, like Minecraft, that came out when I was, I don't know, in college, or not college, in like high school or something. But that was just, hey, you pick it up and you play it, and now you just enjoy it. But then you kind of move to the Fortnite era of things where you pick it up and you play it, and then you can pay for stuff. And with Minecraft, it was like, hey, we combine with this company or that company, you can buy some skins, and that's kind of cool. And then Fortnite took it to the next level, and they were like, hey, here's everybody. You know, like, they're the shooter version of Smash Brothers, if we're being honest. It's like, you can have Resident Evil, you can have Alan Wake, which was huge representation as far as I was concerned. Marvel and everything like that. Super odd timing because I'm driving behind a car and they have the little Daredevil, the 2Ds on the back of their car as a bumper sticker. That's very cool. But they have everybody. They got Marvel, you know, X-Men, you know, heroes, villains, DC is in there, Ninja Turtles are in there. And I'll be honest, if I actually liked the game, I don't know if I would have spent the money to get them, because you have to, heck, honestly, I don't even know when it comes to operations of like paying for costumes. I assume each one is an individual payment, but the Ninja Turtle costumes looked really good when those came out. I was like, these are actually some really nice turtle designs, and I'm a huge Turtles fan. And I was like, I'm not gonna pay for it, and I'm not even gonna turn the game on to see them, but those look really nice. Those are good turtle designs, and I can respect that. Like, I like how it looks. You know, some of the designs definitely work. You know, some characters they have to change. You know, we got buff Peter Griffin, but you have all sorts of characters in this Fortnite style with, like I said, Alan Wake, Resident Evil. Like, you let me see Jill in her RE1 costume, I'm happy every day of the week. It doesn't matter the style. Like, I got to see Jill Valentine representation, but my day is better. But I'm not going to pick up Fortnite to get that costume. Like, I'm just not going to pay for it. I'm not going to care. So it's still going to be mainstream. You have all the games in the world, all the different IP, Star Wars even, and it's not even just characters. It'll literally be like abilities. Dragon Ball Z, you can do a Kamehameha versus a lightsaber. Like, crazy stuff happens in that game. And then on top of that, you can watch movies or episodes of shows. You can have concerts. Like, it's of course going to stay mainstream for as long as they can possibly milk it. They will have people doing it. They'll do concerts and stuff like that for as long as they last. And with the billions upon billions of dollars they've made, I'm sure it'll last quite a bit longer. I don't think it'll last forever. As they say, nothing lasts forever. But it'll be interesting to see how long it can go. I mean, we still play games from decades ago. I can pick up and play Tetris at any moment and have a good time with it. And you have a game, as long as the servers are up and running, it's free to play. It's not like I gotta pay for it later. I just get on something that has the internet, and boom, I'm back in Fortnite. You can do it off your phone. You can do it on your computer. You can do it at some point. I'm sure doing it, just streaming straight off your TV. It's gonna be there for a long time, and who knows? It could just be an eternity. It just lasts forever. Free to play, and just new things and new IPs get brought in, or they cycle through and bring stuff back that people missed before. So it'll always, I feel at least, it'll always dominate when it comes to news, because it's just like, we're always going to hear news reports of billions of dollars being raked in. We're always going to hear about whatever new IP they have coming in. And of course, this mostly ties to Fortnite. Like, other things will always happen. Overwatch and other hero shooters. That's the other side of the news. It'll also be mainstream. And for that element, mainstream is probably more like uber nerds, such as myself and whoever might be listening to this. We're going to hear about stuff like, oh, here's another, free-to-play hero shooter that fails. We're going to have Concord. Like, mainstream media, they will not have Concord. Like, people that are just randomly watching crap, barely play video games, they're not gonna have Concord, but we have Concord. Like, that's gonna be a huge thing for us, where it's like, holy crap, that's mainstream news for us. But like, overall giant mainstream, Fortnite is on like that Grand Theft Auto level, where it's just like, oh man, this person's doing a concert in a video game. This game is being shown off on TV, probably by somebody playing with the wrong effing controller. I will never forget watching, God, what was the name of that show? I wish I could, it was a CW show. It wasn't one of the comic shows. It was based on a movie about time travel, something like that. And they were playing Gears of War. I'll never ever forget that. They were playing Gears of War, and they had like some effing Mad Catz PlayStation 2 controllers. And I was like, what the F are you guys doing? Like, I know you know what this is. Why are you doing this? It bothers me every time. It bothers me to this day, because it still happens. It still happens quite a bit, but every once in a while, I like the fact that we can see something. If WB puts out a property, they love throwing Mortal Kombat in there, because like, hey, video games, Mortal Kombat. So I like seeing that whenever WB has something, they'll always throw either Mortal Kombat in, or if you guys never saw Superman and Lois, which I highly recommend, Superman and Lois is like, I think, the greatest representation that we've ever had of Superman in live action. No offense to the current Superman movie, I enjoyed it. Superman and Lois, God tier. It's got 4 seasons. Just watch that show. It's on HBO Max or whatever they're called. I heard they were changing their name again. Absolutely insane. But watch Superman and Lois. It's really, really good. But WB loves to show their games, and I think every time I see that, they actually have like modern day controllers at the very least. But I'll miss those days. I'll miss those old times of being like, you're not even like, what is this? Like, they'll just have fake games up sometimes, or it's funnier when it's a real game, and I'm like, that controller just that's not how that works. That's not how that works. I couldn't believe it. They had the clear see-through, like the PlayStation 2 clear controllers that had the blue lights in them. You guys know what I'm talking about. They had those, the ones that you could see through with the lights inside, where it was just like, these are like the cool controllers that are also seemingly a little bit cheap. That's what they were using, and they had Gears of War on the TV, and I was like, come on. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Good times though, good times. But anyway, when it comes to mainstream stuff, as far as the free-to-play games, I'm curious what you guys think about it, because I don't think it'll like I said, I don't think it does dominate gaming. I think it dominates more news than the actual community. We'll hear about it more than we will, some random indie game that just doesn't get the popularity it deserves. Shogun Showdown. check out that game. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So there's just little stuff like that. There are games that come out. Among Us is a great example. That game blew up in popularity. Free-to-play mobile game. No one knew about that game till like a streamer played it like 2 or 3 years after it had come out, and then poof, it just blew up during the pandemic. Mainstream is just so different. It just, something just happens, it goes viral, that's just how it is. But free-to-play games are just going to be that way, and especially Fortnite is going to be that way, because not only is it the giant free-to-play popular game, but it's also the one that has Superman and Ryu and Chun-Li from Street Fighter and Peter Griffin and also Goku and Cyclops and Doctor Doom. Like, it's so interesting to see that, and I think it dominates more of the news than it does the overall community. It definitely dominates getting a buttload of money, but that's what's going to make it continue to dominate news-wise and, be kind of mainstream. But I think as a whole, free-to-play games are often talked about, but they aren't going to like destroy gaming. It's definitely affected gaming. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to pretend like, oh man, Fortnite came in and didn't do anything. Like, no, it did, because that's why we're dealing with PlayStation just effing up left and right with these effing games. It's definitely because of the free-to-play mechanics. It's definitely because Fortnite blew up as big as it did, and they get all the IPs and everything like that, and then everybody else, well, I shouldn't say everybody, but Sony wants to, jump on that 5 effing times over. I don't know what their problem is. I don't know why they couldn't focus on one and then just be done with it, but I've talked about that probably 3 or 4 separate times throughout this series, so we don't have to dwell on that topic. But fortunately, I don't think it'll just ruin gaming. Not permanently. I will say it's caused a huge slump. We're in the slump. We're in what I consider a bit of a slump, but at the same time, it's not like we don't have amazing games coming out. This year has just been like flooded with stuff. Like, people are like, all right, Expedition 33, going buck wild. Silksong just came out, $20 effing, going crazy. Peak, an indie game that they threw out for $5 and made them like millions of dollars, or at least like a little bit over $1 million. It's crazy. We have games that are not free to play, whether they're cheap or expensive. Expensive is relative, of course, unless it's Nintendo, that's expensive. But we have games that may not dominate the news, but we still got stuff that's not just free to play. Like we're in the slump. It's 100% affected it, because of course news is going to do that, and just like with movies, it's going to be people that are like so high up on their effing ivory towers of gaming that they don't even know what the F they're doing or talking about, which is why we have Sony just being like, free-to-play game, huh? Oh, that failed? Don't worry, free-to-play game. That one failed too, huh? Free-to-play, 2 weeks and we shut it down, huh? Damn. You know what? Free-to-play game. Like, that's why we're there. It is, and it's unfortunate, but we're almost out. Like, I'm feeling it. We are almost out of there. Just leave it be. Let Fortnite and PUBG do their thing. Let Overwatch do whatever Overwatch is doing. I don't play Overwatch and never have, never will. But let the couple of games that are there just be there. And, play the finals. Please play the finals, because I love that game, and let it survive. But just let the couple of games that are actually popular just stay where they are. Stop trying to make more. Just let it go. Just let it go. They still have fair games. We'll see what happens with that one, by the way. 2 people have left. That's insane. Two of the heads left that. That's crazy. And they still haven't said it's canceled. They might just, silently let it fall, just go away. But we'll see what happens with that. But fair games, absolute insanity. Absolute insanity. But I would love to know your thoughts. Free-to-play gaming. It is, I can't say it's a poison, but it's definitely like, it's kind of like a tapeworm. It won't kill you once you figure out that it's there. You can just get it out of there. But it's definitely like a tapeworm. It's not going to straight up kill you. It hasn't poisoned gaming, but it's definitely like a tapeworm on the community. Like, we're dealing with it, and it's, it'll be out soon. I hope it'll be out soon. But there's still a bunch of stuff on the side. There's still a bunch of stuff there. Play the Expedition 33. Play all the other indie games that are out there. One of the games I'm looking forward to most, not just, Ghost of Yote, of course, that's kind of in the AAA space, but I cannot wait for this Marvel Cosmic Invasion. Like, that company, they've just been putting out just amazing game after amazing game, and just be like, what if we just did this? And it's like, yes. The only thing I'm waiting for them to do is bust out like a Transformers, like a 16-bit or 32-bit Transformers fighting game. If they do that, like, I don't know how I'm gonna react. I genuinely don't. The Scott Pilgrim game that's coming out, I can't wait for that. Like, just, there's smaller things coming out that are gonna have a big impact. So we have opportunities. Like we're not screwed 100%. Like I said, it's not poison. The well wasn't poisoned, but there's like a tapeworm in there, and you know, it'll be out soon enough. But we'd love to know your thoughts on free-to-play games. How do they dominate the gaming space, or in what ways have they dominated the gaming space? But I think it'll be okay. You know, there's some good ones out there. You know, I love Zenless Zone Zero. You know, from the gacha game perspective, that's one that I'm sticking with, just like the finals. But you know, we're gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay. But I would love to know your thoughts on free-to-play gaming. Love it, like it, absolutely despise it. I want to know your thoughts. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.